Second straight week, Lightning Predictions actually debuts with some news at the front of it, and not just the fact that we are tied right now in our results over the last few weeks, which I pulled a come from behind for those that are not aware of that. So, JB, you better get them right this week. But let's talk about some serious stuff here. NCAA has determined, after Mary Hardin-Baylor and the NCAA agreed on a set of facts concerning the 2016 and 2017 usage of a vehicle by a student athlete, a football player, actually two of them, that the 2016 and 2017 wins would be vacated by Mary Hardin-Baylor, and that the national championship would also be vacated in 2016. UMHB is appealing the situation. However, JB, let's look at it from a court of law type of approach here when you appeal an NCAA decision. In this case, there are no facts in dispute. The NCAA and UMHB have agreed to the facts. All that has happened is a rendering of a decision based on them. What was rendered, while some people may view it as extreme, and you and I will discuss that for a minute here when I'm done with this part of it, unless it is outside the potential ramifications, remedies, whatever you want to call it, that the NCAA can impose, there's very little chance that an appeal will be victorious here for UMHB. The likelihood is that the 2016 national championship is gone from UMHB. What are your thoughts on this? The joke of the week is going to obviously be the 2006 Subaru that was in play here. It was such a good car that it broke down when another student athlete attempted to use it. From my understanding, I will add one of the players in question was using it to actually get to work. And it brings to mind some of the things happening in California right now with the NCAA. I'll get to that in a moment. I want you to weigh in your thoughts on the penalty, did it fit the crime, and any other thoughts you have.
I mean, I feel like the penalty is a bit excessive, to say the least. But, I mean, I guess if the rules are the rules and you're not supposed to do something, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm kind of surprised that Coach Fred didn't realize that the possibility that something like this could happen. I mean, I know his heart was in the right place. He was trying to help somebody out. We've seen, tweets all afternoon around folks even saying that, they've heard of coaches who have, helped pay for kids' tuition. I mean, much egregious types of things than this. But to eradicate a national title, that doesn't seem like the crime fits the punishment in this case. They've already, had their coach suspended. They went through a number of what I felt were pretty fair measures with respect to this oversight, but this additional slap on the wrist, or really more like sledgehammer to the hand, or what is something, man, is just feels like kind of above and beyond. Like they're trying to make a example out of them or something.
I'm in agreement with you here. There was a crime, per se, from the NCAA crime list, and a punishment was required in this situation, absolutely. However, I'm somebody that's against what's happening in California, generally. But the NCAA has this way of doing something really asinine to undercut the people that support their approach right now. I don't think California stands a chance in hell of winning. What the law that they passed was that takes effect in 2023 and all that, because it's an interstate commerce question that is left to the Congress. Congress has given the NCAA a certain list of exceptions, and that's Congress's role, and California is attempting to usurp that role. That's why there will be trouble for California when that's pressed in courts. However, from a realistic point of view here, what was at stake was de minimis, nominal in value. It is the driving of a car to work. basically, is from what I understand was in play. And if that's the case, then doesn't it go to the heart of the matter of when we have student athletes in these situations and they have trouble just even living their lives while the universities are benefiting from their gameplay, etc., are we missing the function of what should be happening in this situation? And so this really starts to beg the question.
Yeah.
And so somebody like me who says no, football players and basketball players who are playing the revenue sports basically shouldn't be paid for the simple reason there are many other sports that are not revenue sports, and it basically balances out the entire NCAA system for these schools. In other words, a lot of programs would get dropped at these schools if you started paying them. So now let's wrap it back to UMHB. They self-reported. Why should anybody ever self-report again? Because seriously, was this going to be worthy of a postseason ban? No, it was not. It shouldn't be. Are you kidding me?
No.
Okay, but they dropped 2 years' worth of wins. And what's ironic is if this was reported while the student athlete was there, he could have regained his eligibility technically by paying back the nominal value of what was given to him. So because it's caught after the fact, somehow it's playing a different role in this situation. It's not absolute in that case, but there is some potential to get your eligibility back. And here, because everything happened after the fact, now we're going to basically go cancel seasons, cancel wins, cancel championships. It's done. Okay, la-di-da. Well, they self-reported. They took some pretty harsh measures. They suspended a beloved coach for 3 months and for games. Yeah. And they didn't give him a show cause. And for those that think that show causes are absolute firings when they do that to athletic director or coach, no, it's not. It's essentially telling the school, you have to put this person through some kind of remedy, probably of NCAA's choosing, and prove to us that he has done it, rectified the situation, it will never happen again, and that they are worthy of coaching or being an AD at that point in time in your program or any other. That's what show cause is. It's not you got to fire him. That's not it.
No.
Ask Bruce Pearl how it worked in the end for him down at Auburn. So here's my point. Why would any school not just roll the dice? Because this would have never gone known without self-reporting unless a student athlete had a bone to pick with the school. And maybe that happened here. And then uses it as blackmail to threaten them. Is that what the NCAA wants to get involved with? Because they might have here. Who knows?
They might have opened that Pandora's box for sure.
Because any student athlete that may have threatened that and gets this kind of result, while they may not have gotten ultimately what they wanted, they get the last laugh, it seems like, and that's bold to open the door like that. And so here's my view. I see what you got. I don't even know. I don't want to know where you even got that. OJD.
I got it from my daughter's room,
Okay.
And it's one of those things where, kind of like my record on picks last week. It's about the same thing, but it's something stinks, and it does open the possibility for lots of other things to go unchecked because, I think the initial punishment that they agreed to made sense. Wasn't like the only other experience I've had with this was with my own alma mater, which self-reported something about a decade and a half ago when
they got screwed over too, right?
Yeah, they basically had to forfeit the games from the 2006 and 7 seasons. In the record books. Obviously, those games happened, and this self-reporting incident happened about 4 or so years after the fact. But sometimes, now looking back on it, it's kind of like, well, maybe they shouldn't have self-reported it, in a way.
Roll the dice, because that's what the NCAA is basically telling you here. Roll the dice, because what are you going to do? Are you really going to go above and beyond that? $2,500. You know what? Add a 0 to it, NCAA. Hurt him in the pocketbook. How is this hurting anybody in the pocketbook? How is it helping the current student athletes at the school? Isn't that what the whole thing is about? Fairness and correct treatment of student athletes? So how does this exactly achieve that? Because as the joke is going on Facebook, or on Twitter, excuse me, right now, from a Mount Union player who lost to UMHB in 2016 on their way to the national championship versus Oshkosh. Yeah, that 2006 Subaru really is the reason why they beat us in 2016.
No.
And you know what? Kudos to BJ Mitchell for making the joke essentially out there that what we were all thinking. Kudos to him for being mature enough to say, we're not going to use that as an excuse. Why is the NCAA using it as a punishment right now? That's bold.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Punishments should have happened. Yes. But exactly. It's a BS punishment set that came down here. Add 2 zeros to it if you really want to go there. Do something.
Why not?
$250,000. There you go. If you're saying that the national championship created a cash flow for them, then hit them in the cash flow. And make sure that money goes back to somebody that deserves it. To the current student athletes at schools, to other programs inside that school, something.
Yeah.
Or to other schools. Okay? Nothing they did helps the process, helps the system, helps eradicate what they're trying to eradicate. Nothing. And so if I'm making my appeal to NCAA and I'm UMHB, that's what I tell them. And go ahead and play this video for them. Dan Dutcher's on our page. And, Dan's always been good about not sort of reacting to things we say and do. And he probably won't do this either. But the vice president of Division III knows we're out there. We'll probably have a problem with me saying this. But you know what? We always agree to disagree. We don't share politics. We don't share a lot of things. But he's always been very forthcoming with our organizations and positive. And maybe some of this will actually reach him and he'll think, yeah, maybe they're right. But he may not be the ultimate arbiter on that. So it's in the appeal process. UMHB, do better, obviously. Do better, Coach Fredenberg. And I think you know that by now. I mean, we're talking about something that's how old? 2 years old plus. And we'll see where this goes, but the likelihood of the win on the appeal, right there.
Yep.
Okay, buddy.
Okay.
I think we got to start to roll through these picks. We've kind of gone a little longer than I expected on this, but you know what? When you get us rolling, it's like the William Tell Overture. It just keeps going and going and going.
All right.
First one.
Who's up?
Curry at Husson.
Curry.
And
for the great state of Maine.
Yes, you start.
I will take the Eagles, who I think have finally started to put their offense together. And this is going to be a high-scoring game, Frank. A close one, 34-31.
34-31? Okay, I'm going to take Husson. You know, I was high on Curry to start the season. It's not panning out to this point yet, and I don't see it changing because Husson is showing their offensive prowess. Their running back is getting chunks of yardage now. That's what the success for them was in the first place the last couple of years. Husson wins this game by a score of 28-17. Okay, somebody's got to win this game, and it's falling off my page. It's so good. Hold on. That's a first. We never had that happen. It's that one, ECFC, SUNY Maritime at Dean. And I got to start this. You know what? Yep. Dean Bulldogs have just had so much trouble. Their defense has definitely struggled in this season. SUNY Maritime obviously has not had a great run of it, but it seems like when necessary, they've got good components of offense and defense to show up in games. So I'm going to say SUNY Maritime wins this one 28-21.
Yeah, I'm going with the Privateers as well. I think they'll pull away late, though, and win it 31-17.
How about St. John Fisher at Utica? You start.
Ooh, this is a tough one, but I think I'm gonna give. I'm gonna say the Pios are gonna win at home. I think it's gonna be a tough, low-scoring defensive battle, but I'll take Coach Fagiano and company to hang on. Say 21-17.
Wow. I'm gonna say. Fisher just didn't bounce after that Ithaca game. That's the problem I've got here. And Utica has a history of bouncing after a loss for a game like this. So I'm going to say Utica also. I'm going to say high scoring, 41-34. So I think we're going to see some offensive fireworks on this one. Don't you know better than to ever say that out loud. RPI at Hobart. Oh, boy. Hobart just looked so flat at times last week, and right in front of my face. It was tough to watch that. It's tough to pick this game based on that. I got to go with RPI, I think, and not because it's against your school. RPI wins this 31-24. Looks good.
I will say this. I had a funny conversation with a grad about a couple weeks back, and as you may recall from way back in the radio days, I picked Hobart to lose to St. John Fisher in 2011. And those players had a lot of fun calling and mocking my pick that the Cardinals were going to win that game. And so I'm going to say, right now RPI is playing better football. Hobart offense has only averaged just barely over 14 points the last 3 games in a row. They need to do better than that against an Engineer team, which is trying to defend a conference title. So, if pressed, I will say 24-14.
I just want to confirm. Who are you saying is winning this game?
I'm going to pick RPI and look forward to the maybe prove me wrongs thing. So, come on, guys. This is it.
Reverse Psychology by James Baker. Oh, wait. It's the same game twice. We're having a nightmare now. This game is coming up next. That's why it wasn't working. It's Mass Maritime at Western Connecticut. This is a huge game for the MassCAC.
Saturday night.
I think you have to start it. Go ahead.
I think the Colonials will hold serve at home. I just don't believe some of those defensive stats of Mass Maritime with the 11 sacks and the 14 tackles for loss against Worcester State. Maybe it's true. We'll find out on Saturday night. I think WestCon takes it, though, at home in Danbury. 30-20 score.
Yeah, those night games at WestCon, I think, are just very tough to win. You get a good student body presence. Yeah, and it's if you're not used to the night games too, which Western Connecticut is and Mass Maritime is not, I don't believe, to a certain degree. They play a couple, I think, Friday night games and whatnot over the last couple of years. You're probably typing or checking me on this one. I would say WestCon, by that, has an advantage here, but they also have some great players, and that's why they are where they are in the win-loss column right now. WestCon wins this. James. Yep, exactly. 30-20, WestCon. Tough one. That is one of the tougher ones to pick because do I not believe the defensive stats? I do. They're there. They're real. But at the same time, can they do it against a team of this caliber? That's the question always. And we'll get Misericordia at Widener as our next game. Live what? From the MAC.
Yep.
It is tough not to pick Misericordia here. But Widener, to me, is just the better team of the two. I'm sorry. And I think Widener can do what other teams have failed to do this season in putting space between themselves and Misericordia earlier. That was bad. I am so tired right now. You couldn't tell by the bags of my eyes that I just can't talk. Widener wins this. Let me just get myself dug out of this. 27-13. I have enough distance between Misericordia to prevent the big comeback.
I got burned last week by the Cougars, man. So I feel like if I don't pick them, I'm an idiot. So I guess I'm going to ride with Misericordia. Brady Williams is going to somehow pull this game out at the last second on a QB sneak or something. It's going to be a high-scoring game, 44-42.
44-42. And Jack, Wesley at Salisbury. This is the big game of the week. Let's not kid ourselves right now.
Yep.
You're going first.
I think the Seagulls have a more complete overall team. Wesley has been living a little dangerously, although coming off a bye week, extra prep. Yeah, I'm gonna take the Seagulls in this Route 17 clash to barely win it. I think they're gonna win by a field goal. Defensive battle, 17-14.
It's not Route 17.
But, 13, right?
There you go.
15?
Good save. Good
13.
save. 13 is right.
13.
Yeah.
13. Right. Okay.
I was the tired one in this. Huh? You're taking the Seagulls? I'm taking Wesley.
Yeah. Yeah. Same pick.
Look, it's just this is their season. The way things are breaking for them. I mean, we played the clips of the strip touchdown, against Rowan, and then doink off the extra point and no other scoring in the game. They protected 21-20 game. I mean, that's craziness.
Crazy.
But now they're winning these games. They win in quadruple overtime against Delaware Valley. They're going to win in triple overtime versus Salisbury. And by nature of the triple overtime, it'll be 34-31. Wesley, how's that for a really oddball prediction? Because
there you go.
I'm an oddball.
We're here for the right.
UMAC, Military Central, Merchant Marine Academy at Norwich. I'm going to have to go with Merchant Marine. They just seem to be on a roll right now. Norwich had the hiccup versus Springfield. Historically, I don't think they have bounced well from losses like those. Merchant Marine, I think, can control the clock. I feel like somebody told me that Merchant Marine had a ball in a recent game, like for 3/4 of the game. I got to check that. But they can chew up chunks of clock with that triple option they run.
Yeah.
And that really hurts a team that needs Matt Dunn to throw the ball down the field early and often. That's why Norwich struggled last week against Springfield. So here's the triple option again. And a team that's running, I think, better than Springfield this season is Merchant Marine. So they win 35-17. I actually think they're going to win by that much.
I think it'll be a little closer, but I'll take the Mariners also. I'll say 35-28.
Short and sweet, so why don't we go to the abbreviation probably isn't the best thing we did there, so we'll do it that way. NESCAC, Tufts at Wesleyan. Not the greatest of weeks for the NESCAC, obviously, but this is probably, you're right, the highlight game. What do you think?
I think, I mean, the Cardinals have kind of fooled me in a way because I wasn't expecting them to do so well this season. But when you look at their schedule, haven't beaten any of the top echelon teams yet. Tufts has. So they've beaten Trinity, and so I still feel like the Cardinals will probably eke this one out. Let's say like 35-28, but it's going to be a close call for them.
This is another case of a home team in a night game in a situation where the other team's not used to playing the night game, I think has a decided advantage, all other things being equal. I think Wesleyan was the better team to start with here for this season, and so that gives me two reasons now to go and pick them. And so I think Wesleyan wins this game 24-10. I don't think it's going to be a huge scoring game by most standards, but 24-10 final in favor of Wesleyan. Got a couple random thoughts and things to talk about here as we get our picks off the board here and go into other directions. First, we apologize for not doing this with more announcement, but we figured instead of having to edit this show and everything else, because we've had a week full of stuff, me in particular, we wanted to go live with it. Gable is tomorrow through Sunday for me, so I'm going to be a little out of pocket, and James is going to have to tell me all about the action on Saturday that I don't get to see. So, he's going to control who our guests are, what video highlights we're going to play this week, and everything else. So we'll see. But we first have to wish this beautiful woman a very happy birthday. I believe on Friday, correct?
Yes. Yep. October
Who is
11th.
Who is that?
That's my beautiful bride, Jen Baker. And yep, it's been a very full week of birthdays for us with the kids. And she is with her twin sons, Will and Matt, at our wedding from about a year and a half ago. You might have played an important role in it. And there she is with Katie, who actually now is about just as tall as Jen, which is amazing. She's really grown a lot over the last almost 2 years. And hey, look at that guy on the right. He cleans up pretty good.
Yeah, don't tell anyone. But here's the amazing part. How did you guys meet exactly?
We play in a rock and roll band, and we'll actually be performing tomorrow night for a fundraiser for the local elementary school at the Orlando Science Center on the 6th floor patio, which would be kind of fun. And I'll be playing bass, and she'll be singing away, and I'll be doing a little singing too. It should be fun, but yeah.
Folks,
it's gonna be a great night.
You have to agree with me, folks. This is a beautiful couple right here, and I got to marry them together about a year and a half ago, give or take, right at this point. And it was worth having to get qualified to do it in the first place, and it was one of the most nerve-wracking moments. Yeah, it was one of the most nerve-wracking moments I've had in a long time, just because it's like, if I screw this up, I'm screwing up my friend's moment, basically, or my friends at that point, because you both are good
pressure
friends
at all.
Yep. So it was nerve-wracking. I hope I didn't screw it up too much for you guys. Happy birthday, Jen. Love you and miss you, and we'll hopefully see you soon. And thanks for letting us use your kitchen for our postseason shows now. That's a thing now. And we did invite a couple of Springfield players to join us for that show this January. If you didn't see that, go back and watch that one, folks. Yeah, I think you did.
A couple of college guys down in Orlando for spring break. I never heard of that before.
I think so. There will be no benefits, impermissible benefits exchange in the process. Thank you to the NCAA for listening to that. Anything else? We got about 2 minutes before we hit the 30-minute mark, which is a nice even number here. But what are your last thoughts here about Week 6? UMHB, anything that's on your mind? Let's get a James Baker, not rant, but a finishing touch here, basically.
Well, Week 6 is just one of those. It's going to be one of those weeks where there's not going to be a ton of great matchups. I mean, there are a couple. I mean, the Wesley Salisbury one is definitely the headliner. But when you look at some of the other ones, SUNY versus Dean, maybe not the greatest matchup given the number of losses between the two teams, but it is kind of a de facto conference championship game just based on the past few years. So that could decide a Pool A bid there. Hobart versus RPI has a lot of impacts on the East region as far as who wins that or doesn't. And so there's a couple of key things to keep an eye out on, but I think overall as we went through in our last host chat, you kind of have the teams at the top and the middle and then at the bottom. And so things are starting to flush out. We're kind of seeing who the real contenders are. But there are going to be some good matchups like the ones we'll see this weekend where we'll have a better idea of, okay, this team is now officially the conference favorite and or potential automatic qualifier, league champion type of caliber team. And then, coming into Week 7, we're not too far. We're a month away from the playoffs. So here we go.
You've got the Union Ithacas coming up. RPI is still definitely a factor. If they win the game against Hobart, they're a huge factor still because they're undefeated in the Liberty League. And so you'll have 3 different games starting to play a role 3 games. RPI, Ithaca, RPI, Union, Ithaca, Union that will still play roles most likely in the Liberty League Championship. Empire 8 is still wide open. There's a lot of games out there to be played. Alfred, Cortland, and Brockport are the 3-way scenario there. So, there's a lot to be played. This is kind of that take a deep breath kind of week, except for Wesley Salisbury, RPI Hobart, like you said. Stuff
and
like
I
that.
think we should throw in Mass Maritime and WestCon.
Yes.
I mean, didn't want to disrespect those. Those are 2 4-0 teams, 2-0 in their conference. This is a big game for both of them. And there's, I think, in the MAC, I think Misericordia Widener is probably the feature, but Wilkes has a chance to go 5-0. Coach Drock has really done a nice job there.
Yeah, but everything else on the board is a little bit, unless a decided upset occurs, which is possible. Weeks like these where we really don't expect much to happen is when all hell breaks loose. That's how the top 25 debacle occurred a few weeks ago. Nobody expected that week to look like that, and then boom. Okay, bud.
Right.
You know what? Thanks for doing this with me today. I appreciate that. And folks, thanks for putting up with us. Again, we've had a lot of content through this week. 2 sets of player interviews with Joe Kolosky on one, and Nick Boehner and Chad Shaden the other, all together released this morning. And also the host chat show, which was very popular with the union interviews. So please go back, watch those if you haven't already. We're also on iTunes with most of this stuff. Till next time, let's see how this Saturday goes. Good luck to everybody in D3 land.